Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and today's build and play guide is on the Johan De Witt here, finishing up our Tech Tree cruiser line for the Dutch. And this is where I feel it's at its strongest. It's a very tough ship. And let's go ahead and look at the commander. Now, again, like I said with the other ships, you could use Johan Firstner if that's what you prefer. I'm using Dorman. That's just me. A little bit to the airstrikes because I do have his legendary perk maxed out. Meaning, if an enemy's within 9 kilometers, I get another airstrike within 1 second. So, as you can see here, we're using Membeli and Kuzganov. You could 100% build in that to the detection as well, and we're using Burn It Down XXL. Look at me now, Sponge and whatever that is called. That looks like a giant cough. But anyway, guys, for your modifications, you're using Aiming Systems Mod 1, Prop, and Concealment as always on the second and third slot. And in the last slot, we are using a main battery mod 3. Now, for your upgrades, I, as always, went with range. Now, the second one, this one does have an airstrike upgrade, so you can do that as well. And the hull upgrade is the last one that I did. Now, for your airstrikes on this, you do have 60, and again, 37% chance of fire. These things can hurt when you get them dealt on a target, especially with the fires. If you get the fires going with this, they can be really crazy. Now, I haven't had that game in this one, but at Legendary tier, which is a somewhat similar playstyle and ship, I have. So I can tell you this thing can do significant amounts of damage given the opportunity. It has a good sonar at 5 kilometers, defensive AA for another consumable, and 3 heals. So they're not the strongest heals in the world, but again, having a heal on a cruiser is pretty handy. As you can see, survivability 45 or 46,000 hit points. The airdrops as we went through, I believe they are 12.5 kilometers. Yeah, a range. And your main guns are 9.5-inch guns, and they are not bad. It's not, this line isn't necessarily DPM monsters with their guns, but I feel like the guns on these things get overshadowed, particularly the AP on this ship can be very good given the opportunity. Um, Especially with the 9.5, you come across another cruiser, and these guns can hit pretty good. And they're not as accurate as probably my stats will show because I'm playing it close in, but they're not terrible for accuracy either. AA defense is pretty good. A lot of it's out farther, helping you with this quite a bit because you're gonna be close in on the map a lot with this ship, and having the AA will help you, especially if you get in a tier 7 lobby with a Kaga or something, you could tear up some planes. That being said, maneuverability is pretty solid with this ship for as big as it is. It is quite the big cruiser. And concealment is 9.8. I believe you can get that into the high 8s if you would like, if you want to take another 2 consumable perks for detection. Stats, as you can see, uh, not too bad. It's not as accurate as it says. The big thing is you can take a lot of damage in this, just like you can in the Harlem. And you can see it. I've survived 2 battles, or all but 1 battle, and I'm averaging 1.5 million potential damage against me. That is quite high. I know it's only 3 games, but I can assure you that it definitely is tanky, and one of the tankier ships I played, surprisingly. But all in all, pretty solid ship. I like this line. This probably won't be less of this you'll see on the channel, obviously. You do have a 25 millimeter bow and stern, meaning anything basically battleship at tier 8 is going to overmatch you. Now, that being said, guys, you do have this extended 40 millimeter belt. So when you're close in, that's a very small target to try to overmatch. Alright, and your citadel isn't very high right here. Oh, they will pull that off. Your citadel isn't very high, so the odds of you getting, you know, a citadel through the bow if you play up close, pretty hard to do, right? Like, that's not an easy target to hit. Also, it does have a slight turtleback, but I would not rely on it. I haven't had an issue with it yet, but to be honest, I've gotten away with a few things in this ship that I shouldn't be able to, or shouldn't normally, I would feel, and it's definitely been a very tough ship for me. As we start the match, it's disclaimer time. This is a beginner's video meant to help people new to the ship or new to the game. This is not meant for professional gamers that know everything there is to know about everything in the universe. There are multiple ways to play and build this ship, and I am an above average player, not the world's best. I make mistakes. You may see one in this match. You didn't come here for pronunciations. I'm as good as anybody at slaughtering beautiful languages all the time. With that out of the way here, guys, we are on Sleeping Giant, and it's actually a pretty good map for this ship because you can get quite a bit far in before you get detected. And that is actually what we're going to do. We're going to head in along this island rows, and we're going to try to sneak up on our opponents. The big thing with this line is not getting spotted right away till you get into a comfortable position. Two reasons: that keeps you safe, and another reason is you can make people push up a lot farther than they'd like, and they're in airstrike range, and you can kind of make them pay before they get out of your range. A lot of people I find with this ship, as soon as they see this ship, they have a tendency to back off a little bit, more than they do with like the Harlem. But this one and the legendary Good Lu, man, I'm pretty much sure I'm slaughtering that. But at any rate, you want to be careful because these airstrikes, you'll see a lot of people just back off from you when you're in this ship. And it, a lot of games when I've been playing this line, if you guys seen the last one on the Harlem, they've just been over pretty quickly, or we win our side pretty fast. And this match is going to be no different. We're going to have a little bit of a slow start because we're not going to have a ton of spotting here at first. And that's okay. You can spot with this ship if you'd like. And you can kite away with it, especially if somebody's chasing you pretty hard. It works really well for that. If you can, try to get into a position like this where you're pretty safe. You're going to run across some guys or your battleships and that, and we don't know what's over here yet, so we're going to be careful, and we're going to back up because obviously there is an airstrike coming in, so we got to be a little bit careful. And we're going to work on trying to get rid of a key. So you can see here, we are just trying to get ourselves a little bit back here. We know there's obviously a destroyer somewhere to our left that's also playing a role. If I sit in one spot, you're bound to eat torpedoes. And everybody, I think a lot of people think these ships are very powerful. They are, but if you're not a good player and you just sit there and you eat a bunch of torps on the island, that is not going to help you at all. So we see splits over here, and we're going to try to help out our destroyer because split is really powerful at the moment that you guys are watching this. Obviously, Split is one of the best destroyers in the game. And you can see a little bit, Key has kind of paid for being the only one spotted over there for a little bit. We're going to take a shot here at Key. And again, he's really our biggest threat right now. He's really the one that could get rid of us in one salvo if he wanted to, or if he was able to. Nobody else right now that I can see is that big of a threat. I am keeping out for the destroyer, though, just so I can go ahead and take that shot if I do, in fact, or get it. But you can see we did get a double fire on the Key, but he does put it out, which is a shame because that would have been a pretty good little damage run. I think maybe someone else set a fire on him, too, and maybe set fire with fire. I did not see that. But anyway, we're going to push back up. And we're off to an okay start. We got rid of one of their cruisers. Now we're going to try to hit Salem here. And honestly, if your cruisers and destroyers, sometimes if they dodge right, they can miss these things. Battleships, for the most part, you're you're gonna tear up with your airstrikes for the most part. So we're gonna keep pushing up. Try to push on this cap, make that destroyer make a mistake here, while not making a mistake ourselves, right? So we got to be careful because right now we're broadside to a very accurate constellation ship. But again, we're putting ourselves in good positions as we do stop them on that cap a little bit, and we get one fire. We're gonna work on getting rid of a key again now, because that other cruiser we gotta be real careful of, right? Like we don't see him yet, now we do finally. So he could just be waiting for us to come around that corner to mess us up. And being that this is a pretty big cruiser, when you get airdropped in this thing, it does hurt, right? The airstrikes on these Dutch cruisers are actually pretty good. So not something you want to, as you can see, our teammate does not have the same belief as me, and he is gonna go ahead and get in a bad position real quick as we're trying to go ahead and hit the Harlem as well, and we don't get quite a great aim. But as you can see here, even with missing a few, we did get a fire on him, and we're gonna go ahead and keep pushing up. Try to get this cap as well, but try to keep ourselves in position to actually get rid of that Harlem that is over to the right as well, after the key, obviously. You guys will have to let me know what you guys think of this line so far. I've actually had a good time playing it, but I didn't when I wasn't being aggressive, if that makes sense. This is a line that if you're going to play back of the map, you're not going to like. The guns aren't, the guns aren't DPM monsters. They are decent, and if you get a hold of a cruiser and you got your AP loaded, it could be really bad for the, before that other cruiser. But a lot of times, like I said, not a DPM monster, but with the airstrikes, it's kind of fun to play. One thing I've mentioned, I know in these previous videos, is on an airstrike, sometimes I'll have AP loaded. And why would I do that? Well, if you make a guy dodge to miss your torpedoes, right? You get him to go broadside to your torpedoes, well, then you have AP loaded, and you make him not want to do that anymore. Then, obviously, after the cooldown is up, after putting out the fire from the airstrikes, then you can go back and try to get a fire with your HE. So, Constellation, middle of the map, we're going to try to hit him a little bit here. One thing I would say about this ship is it's easy to get a little bit overconfident, right? Like, this thing is real tough, but you come across a good destroyer player, particularly, and you're not careful of what torps are coming your way, it can be rough. So, like even in this match, I forgot to use my sonar, and that's one thing I wanted to bring up, is be aware when you're sitting behind them islands of torpedoes coming your way in a whole line that you're not going to be able to avoid, and you're going to get dev struck if you sit too long. You want to be moving little bits and pieces just to throw aim off of people. It pretty much is always, but in this ship in particular, because you can get stale and not realize it, and you're just stuck in one position. But you can see Constellation basically done now. And like I said, by the time we got to this point, it's pretty much a slaughter fest, right? Match is over pretty quick. That's how all of these matches went. But it was a good showcase of using the islands to kind of move up and win our flank. And with that comes a lot of these matches that get over quick, but it's not the end of the world here. Honestly, like I said, we're talking about the line. It's a fun line. I'm glad they added it to the game. Is it overpowered? Definitely not. I know some people will think the airstrikes are overpowered, man, but if you have a good destroyer playing against you, it can make them airstrikes kind of tough to get off, if you got to stay moving around or dodge and destroy your torps the whole time. Not going to be ideal. But the biggest thing is not to be scared in this ship, right? So, for a few reasons. If you're playing far back in this ship, your airstrikes aren't going to work. You're going to see us take some shots, longer shots right here in this area, and they look pretty rough. Like I feel like the accuracy is better, definitely up close, obviously, but more particularly on this ship than maybe the rest of the line. This in the tier 7, they're more accurate up close than they are at range. And as you can see in this match, we are just finishing up here. And we do get extra little cap there to help our score, but nothing too crazy. Kind of just wanted to showcase of how to use the islands, and that you guys saw you could square up against somebody if you had to. We didn't lose a lot of health. We were pretty smart about what we did. And that's, I think, the biggest thing with this line is I know some people are probably going to struggle, right? It's a new line. Everybody generally struggles on a new line, especially if there's like the newer airstrikes like we have now. And some people don't really care for them, which I totally understand. And I don't disagree with it at all. But it's in the game, and I do want to help the game. So it's nice to see them, and I try to stay open on that type of stuff. So, but anyway, like I said, just don't, in this line, be aggressive, right? You don't have to stay back at the back of the map like a Japanese cruiser in these things. And I've seen a lot of that, to be honest. It's getting better now, but anyway, you can see we did our part. Almost top leaderboard, helping our team. You guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you folks next time. Have a good one, folks.